A warm welcome and thank you for choosing Luntha TV. I'm Kathy Matura giving you the news at this hour live from the Bishop Nevi Media Center here in Lilongwe. First, we give you the headlines. Pope Francis encourages unity and recognition of women's contributions at Women in the Church Builders of Humanity Conference. Malawi grapples with 8th global rank in child marriages and escalating violence against elderly women. Malawi Economic Justice Network advocates for 1% VAT increment to boost social protection programs in 2024-2025 national budget. This week's exclusive report, Jacqueline Saidi looks at how Malawi is facing alarming security breach as immigration officials disclose potential hacking threat, ransom demands, and critical information at stake. Now the news in detail. Pope Francis, in his message to the participants of the Women in Church Builders of Humanity International Conference, extended a heartfelt welcome, appreciating their attendance and the seamless organization of the event. Underscoring the significance of recognizing and valuing women's contributions within the people of God, he called for a collaborative effort towards unity, discernment, and collaboration to realize this shared goal. Here is a Vatican News report read by Bernard Mwanza in our studios.
The conference, uniting participants worldwide, centers on showcasing the exemplary holiness of 10 women: Josephine Bakita, Magdalene de Jesus, Elizabeth Ann Senton, Mary Maclop, Laura Montoya, Kateri Tekakwita, Teresa of Calcutta, Rafika Pietra Kobog Arares, Maria Bertram Quatroche, and Dafros Mukasanga. Pope Francis highlighted the significance of their charitable, educational, and prayerful initiatives, illustrating the unique reflection of God's holiness through the feminine genius. In the face of contemporary challenges like hatred, violence, and ideological conflict, he stressed the increasing need for women's contributions marked by tenderness and compassion to restore humanity's true identity and foster unity. Addressing education, Pope Francis praised the collaboration between the conference and various Catholic academic institutions. He concluded by urging concerted efforts to tackle ongoing struggles faced by women globally, such as violence, inequality, and injustice, emphasizing the transformative power of education for girls and young women in promoting overall human development. Closing his address, Pope Francis entrusted the conference outcomes to the Lord, bestowed his blessing upon the participants, and called for continued commitment to advancing women's rights and dignity.
Malawi is the 8th highest globally in terms of child marriages, accompanied by a regrettable increase in attacks and violence against elderly women. This was disclosed in a statement from the Malawi Human Rights Commission during the annual commemoration of International Women's Day on March 8th. The government human rights watchdog chaired by Chikondi Chijozi has issued recommendations including financial investment in the protection of women among other measures. Robert Edward reports.
Malawi currently holds the 173rd position out of 188 nations in the United Nations Gender Equality Index, and with only 6 years left to attain the Sustainable Development Goals, despite a higher female population of 10.5 million compared to 9.9 million males, achieving gender equality remains a complex challenge. These considerations, along with others, are highlighted as the country observes International Women's Day on March 8th. In a two-page statement, the Malawi Human Rights Commission, acting as the government human rights watchdog, recommends the inclusion of women in politics alongside financial investments and protection. This year's theme for the commemoration is Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
EcoBank has called on civil servants to invest through their products before retirement. Elizabeth Lungu, who is the bank's Mangochi branch manager, made the appeal on Thursday in Balaka during a district executive committee meeting. Lungu disclosed that EcoBank has loan products that all employees, including civil servants, can access even if they don't have an account with the bank. Andrew Nandolo compiled the following report.
Speaking to Luntha television soon after meeting Balaka District Executive Committee members, Lungu said EcoBank has lined up many loan products for civil servants and those working in the private sector at a reasonable interest. She also said that civil society organizations can access loans after signing a memorandum of understanding with EcoBank.
Any civil servant can access a loan with EcoBank. We give a rate of only 28%. We are the cheapest on the market, and with a tenure of 60 months. And the civil servants, we are able to buy the loans that they have from other banks. So on the NGOs, we are also saying, despite you not seeing EcoBank here in Balaka, you can be able also to have access to loans with EcoBank by just us having an MOU with your organization, and whereby the repayment of the loans should be done from the source. So they should be able to come to EcoBank and access loans, and we are happy to serve them as a bank.
In his remarks, Balaka District Director of Planning and Development, Chris Nawata, thanked EcoBank for the loan facility to council employees, saying as the District Executive Committee delivers service to the people, it is also important to take care of the well-being of the council executives. Nawata encouraged the Executive Committee members to access the loans, especially looking at the time of repayment and the interest are affordable. The DPD also asked the Executive Committee members, who also interact with the communities, to take the message to the general public.
Yes, we had EcoBank as a bank, a commercial bank. They wanted to also present their products to members of the District Executive Committee. And one of the products they were able to showcase is the loan facility. We thought that was important. While we were talking about delivering services to the people, we should also be concerned about the general well-being of members of the Executive Committee. Also, general awareness about these innovations in banking are important for DEC members, because they interact with communities, they interact with other people. They're also heads of sectors, so we thought they would be able also to extend the same to their subordinates within their respective sectors. So this was also important.
EcoBank is found in 36 countries in Africa and is one of the most leading digital banking.
The Malawi Network for Older Persons organization, MANEPO, reports success in bringing attention to the rights of older individuals amid the prevalent abuses faced by this demographic. During a media tour of 2 communities in Balaka district, where the organization is implementing a project on older persons' rights and protection, Goodwill Tunga stated that there is headway in their advocacy efforts. He highlighted that their focus has been on people who frequently interact with older persons but harbor negative attitudes towards their existence. From our Balaka Bureau, here is Rashida Matandika.
Instances of exploitation, such as family members deceiving elderly individuals to misappropriate their social cash transfer funds, were on the rise. This situation parallels the experience of Fanny Rajab, as narrated by her daughter Esnat Sumani.
Tabwera gugu kunoka nabwera ndikudwala kuchokera kwa chimeneko nde anakaniza foni kuti sibwera azikhala yoko kuno foni ikhala ndiyowo ndalama asusa ikalowasi mabwera ndimakalima maganyu ndikumadya nda Google nde anthu anatithandiza foni inafika basi kuyamba kutani kuthandizika na Google nde kuti zonse zikuyenda bwino.
The initiative also involved negotiating with healthcare facilities to prioritize other individuals for treatment. According to Chikumbutso Malinga, the in charge of Kuitanda Health Center under Balaka District Health Office, there is positive progress and collaboration to ensure that other persons are held and assisted appropriately. Goodwill Tunga, Manepo's programs manager, expressed in his comments that the project has successfully achieved its intended outcomes. Through the establishment of other people associations in communities, they have effectively reached out to many other individuals, educating them on their rights and addressing challenges, including instances of assault and harassment. Tunga mentioned that they are currently awaiting the tabling of the Other Persons Bill in Parliament, a cause they have been advocating for.
From late last year up to now, there's been quite some progress because previously the bill was stuck in the Ministry of Justice, but it went on to the cabinet level. The cabinet gave some comments and the comments were addressed and it was sent back. Right now, we're just waiting for it to be tabled in Parliament. So it could be maybe this sitting or maybe the next sitting, but otherwise we have covered a lot of distance in terms of advocating for the enactment of that law.
In Balaka District, Manepo has partnered with Forces and there is optimism that they will persist in securing funding to extend outreach efforts aiming to create a favorable environment for other persons, mirroring the conditions for all Malawians. Rashida Matandika, Luntha TV, Balaka.
You're watching news live on Luntha TV. We take a short commercial break. Stay with us.
Personal growth to business solutions, there is no limit to what you can imagine. It's time to reimagine banking. Centenary Bank, our bank.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Luntha TV News and I'm Kathy Matura. But before we proceed, here is a recap of the top stories. Pope Francis encourages unity and recognition of women's contributions at Women in the Church Builders of Humanity Conference. Malawi grapples with 8th global rank in child marriages and escalating violence against elderly women. Malawi Economic Justice Network advocates for 1% VAT increment to boost social protection programs in 2024-2025 national budget. This week's exclusive report, Jacqueline Saidi looks at how Malawi is facing alarming security breach as immigration officials disclose potential hacking threat, ransom demands, and critical information at stake. Moving on, the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services reports a 60% likelihood of a tropical storm forming in the Indian Ocean, possibly reaching southern Malawi. This is according to a recent weather update released by the department. The forecast indicates the tropical storm's development in the Mozambique Channel by Sunday, 10th March of 2024. Anticipated to intensify, the weather storm is projected to transform into a moderate tropical storm with the potential to further escalate into a tropical storm. Here is a report compiled by Herbert Katanda.
Met said in a statement that cyclone is brewing in the Indian Ocean and it could hit the country in a few weeks. The department, however, assured Malawians that it will continue to monitor closely the situation and communicate timely if anything arises. In an interview made public, Yobukashwanda said the cyclone is likely to start on Sunday.
The communication was basically to give a hint that there is a possible development of a tropical cyclone in the Indian Ocean, in the Mozambique Channel, which may affect. There's still a chance of about 60% that it could be be close to Malawi and affect the country at least from Sunday onwards. That's what we're trying to communicate.
In a separate interview, environmental activists said authorities should alert people and plan ahead in case where the cyclone affects Malawi. DOTMA spokesperson Chibiniro Kamula was not available for a comment by the time we went to place. Has in the recent years been hit by intense tropical cyclone Freddy and Idai, tropical cyclone Gombe, and the tropical storm Anna, which killed many people and destroyed a lot of property. For Luntha News, Fales Chizombe.
Fales Chizombe reading that report. In light of the unfolding narrative involving President Lazarus Chakwera's Homeland Security Minister Kenneth Zikale Ngoma and Director General Charles Kalumo regarding immigration hackers, the security landscape in Malawi appears to be in a precarious state. The gravity of the situation is underscored by the alleged compromise of security details for high-profile figures including incumbent president, former president, heads of military, police, intelligence, and the parliament. More in this week's exclusive report by Jacqueline Saidi.
By afternoon on Tuesday, Technobrain released a carefully worded statement, essentially blaming the Department of Immigration for the mess, saying it handed over everything and was only cold when needed. A technology guru who has worked on state security said it was unbelievable that the criminal holding of the nation's private data was being treated as a simple matter and being tramped up without evidence. And so is City Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa. The issue, some believe it's a conduit by some government officials.
Administration issues have reached crisis proportion levels in this country. In fact, it is a timely ticking bomb that ought to be diffused immediately. Otherwise, it is threatening the peace and stability of this country. Today, every Malawian, in every corner, they are indirectly or directly affected.
Some youth in the country believe that Kalumo should have been fired instantly as he presided over the leak, which he says has officially compromised national security. The IT experts say a network audit said what happened at immigration was not accidental, but a well-planned and executed network, data breach, and criminal activity. Kalumo had system source code from Technobrain. Last week, Zikale Ngoma claimed he had recovered 90% of data without saying how it was done, since an internal contracting report claimed it was encrypted by the license holder GIT, which is suspected to be an associate of Technobrain as they share a Dubai address. However, an insider close to Kalumo charged that Technobrain was not sincere, as they should have said what they were doing in the system on the night of January 17th, 2024. Speaking in Parliament weeks ago, President Lazarus Chakwera said the system had been manipulated and it needs to be worked on. He directed the immigration officials to rectify the problem within a period of 3 weeks. The president also repeated the same at a public event in Lilongwe last week, saying he will fire and dissolve the board if this doesn't work. In a battle to get a contract for passport printing, 7 companies were interviewed orally. A local media house had to withdraw its initial story after it came to light that the leaked proposal for e-tech was made to sabotage the procurement after companies related to people in the office of the president and cabinet and others were dropped. The question now remains that what if 3 weeks go by without the system being rectified? What will the president do then?
That worrisome report from the Department of Immigration by Jacqueline Saidi marks the end of this bulletin. The headlines once again before we go. Pope Francis encourages unity and recognition of women's contributions at Women in the Church Builders of Humanity Conference. Malawi grapples with 8th global rank in child marriages and escalating violence against elderly women. Malawi Economic Justice Network advocates for 1% VAT increment to boost social protection programs in 2024-2025 national budget. This week's exclusive report, Jacqueline Saidi looks at how Malawi is facing alarming security breach as immigration officials disclose potential hacking threat, ransom demands, and critical information at stake. Beyond today, the 8th, throughout the month of March and the rest of the year, let us remember to inspire inclusion and continue celebrating the diverse and impactful contributions of women in our communities. I'm Kathy Matura. Enjoy the rest of our programming we have lined up for you here on Luntha TV. Goodbye for now.